Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Verna Bharath. This is TTT News. It's time for the headlines. Police Commissioner says he has permission to use camouflage. A couple is found shot to death at their home in Sangre Grande. No survivors as Ethiopia airliner crashes in Addis Ababa. And in sport, another batting flop for Windies as England sweep T20 series. Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith has responded to a newspaper article where a former Commissioner of Police said that members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service are breaking the law by wearing camouflage and ski masks. The article published in the Sunday Express did not identify the former commissioner. In a statement, Mr. Griffith said, "The Law in the Defence Act, Chapter 1101, Section 99, states a person not serving in the TTDF shall not wear such uniform without the minister's permission." The top cop said the necessary approval was required from the minister, allowing elite units to wear this uniform on a trial basis. He said years gone by, certain elite units have been wearing the exact camouflage uniform while securing the president and prime minister, possibly without the minister's permission. The Commissioner of Police wishes to remind the public that there are certain individuals who would continue to throw red herrings to divert and distract, as crime is a multi-billion industry that may be benefiting some. A man was shot and killed in a shootout with police today. According to reports, 29-year-old Abba Tafari was killed at Gordon Street, Mount Hope, after a shootout with officers ensued. Tafari died upon arrival at the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex in Mount Hope. Police said a pistol was recovered on the scene. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of two people in Sangre Grande on Sunday morning. According to reports, 34-year-old Onika Crafton and her common-law husband, 31-year-old Jamari John, were found dead inside a house located at Mulchan Street, Sangre Grande. Reports say residents heard loud noises at around 3 o'clock. Officers from the Homicide Bureau Region 2 visited the scene, and upon investigations, they found the couple in the nude with multiple shots about the body. The Movement for Social Justice is questioning the real success of Carnival 2019 celebrations. Last week, the security forces said, from a national security perspective, Carnival 2019 was a success, as it was the safest ever. MSJ political leader David Abdullah is, however, taking an objection to recommendations to have next year's Carnival Tuesday festivities end by 9 p.m.
The government, on the other hand, is about, as the long-time approach of the colonial authorities was, from Cambole all the way up, was to deny people freedom on the streets. I think what we should remind people about is Kitch's famous calypso, "The Road Made to Walk on Carnival Day."
MSJ chairperson Gregory Fernandez is questioning the economic benefits derived from Carnival 2019. He says Carnival has become an all-inclusive event and small business owners and vendors are feeling the pinch. He said millions of dollars is being pumped into hosting the major events, while funding for the regional carnivals has been cut significantly.
The majority of the money goes towards infrastructure that the government should really own, and therefore each year you would be in a position to have more money going towards the actual interest groups and the communities.
A shooting incident at the Chaguaramas boardwalk on Saturday left one man dead. According to reports, the deceased has been identified as Tungi de Pisa. At around 9 p.m. on Saturday, visitors at the boardwalk heard loud explosions. Upon investigating, a station wagon was seen speeding away. De Pisa was found a short distance away with multiple gunshot wounds. Police were notified, however. De Pisa later succumbed to his injuries. Police are searching for 4 men in connection with the stabbing death of PH driver Ian Joseph. Police said around 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, following reports, they went to Longdonville Old Road where they found a vehicle idling in the middle of the roadway with bloodstains on the seat. They began searching the area and later found Joseph, 37, of Ruben Lane Enterprise, Shigbonas, in a bushy area some 25 meters off the road. He had been stabbed about the body. Police were told 4 men were seen loitering in the area where Joseph's body was found. Joseph's father, Henry Joseph, was killed in similar circumstances on January 29th of this year. He got into a physical altercation with a man at a shop at Phyllis Lane Enterprise, Shigbonas, and fell and hit his head. Trinidad and Tobago's fashion industry is a leader in the diversification of the economy. Minister of Trade and Industry Paula Gopi-Schoon made the remarks while speaking at Fashion TT's Bespoke Tailoring Showcase on Saturday evening. Sherilyn Lewis reports.
If you're interested in a career in fashion, now is the time to seize the opportunity to pursue studies in tailoring. Minister of Trade and Industry Paula Gopi-Schoon says it is projected the menswear industry will peak in the coming years.
Handpicked to equip our local tailors and designers with the requisite skills required to meet and to exceed international standards, and we've seen this tonight in the international menswear market. A much welcomed benefit has been that participants have had the advantage of being tutored and trained by our son of the soil, our world-renowned master tailor, Professor Andrew Ramroop.
Minister Gopi-Schoon says this tailoring program is on par with similar international programs.
Importantly, we are here to celebrate and showcase the accomplishments of Trinidad and Tobago's first cohort of trained bespoke tailorers. It was with great fashion and foresight that this bespoke tailoring program was introduced, aimed at industry development and increasing exports. This is the end game, and therefore it tells us that it's quite in sight.
Further, she said the fashion industry is a major priority for the government, thus their keen interest.
And as such, the added development of the industry by these new sartorial talents will contribute meaningfully to the diversification of the economy. And we hear about diversification, this buzzword all of the time. This is it. This is diversification. This program continues to demonstrate the strategic focus of the government of Trinidad and Tobago through the Ministry of Trade and Industry and its agencies in creating the enabling environment for businesses to grow and develop, particularly in the creative sector.
27 master tailors showcased their collection of business wear at Sartorial Art, the Renaissance of Caribbean Bespoke Tailoring, hosted at Stallmeyer's Castle. Sherilyn Lewis, TTT News.
The Trinidad and Tobago Fashion Company Limited, Fashion TT, in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade and Industry and Savile Row Academy, began its one-year certificate program in bespoke tailoring, pattern drafting, cutting and fitting in March 2018. Chairman of MIC, Dr. Keith Toby, said he was very pleased to be part of the bespoke tailoring program by facilitating the course, which seeks to provide a platform for potential designers into a career in menswear designing.
MIC, as I say, was very pleased to host Professor Ramroop. I did my master's degree in England. And it wasn't very far from London. I was 15 miles away from London in a town called Uxbridge. And I would go to London almost every weekend. And there were these famous streets in London. You know, if you say Downing Street, everybody thinks number 10. If you say Fleet Street, everybody thinks. And when you say Savile Row, you don't have to say anything else. And Professor Ramroop, the maestro.
Bespoke tailoring is a traditional method of measuring and cutting from a pattern drafted from scratch for an individual customer, and so differs from ready-to-wear or factory-made standardized sizes. Participants who learned the secrets of Savile Row's intricate tailoring techniques presented their collection, showcasing modern and classic in design craftsmanship at Stallmeyer's Castle on Saturday. Dr. Toby sees the program as a key area for diversification.
Training programs that start at the very high level of the master craftsman. This is at the tertiary level. The master craftsman is considered, if you like, a practical engineer in Germany. And we go lower down to height, where literally people who have sort of dropped out of school, if you like, where we train them in the construction trade.
Sports to come after the break. Stay with us.
News happens anytime, anywhere. And when it happens, we are there. We report the news in real time. TTT News. Connect.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Who really cares?
Who cares? I care. Because I know that prostate cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related deaths in men in Trinidad and Tobago. Finding prostate cancer early offers the best hope of living cancer-free after treatment. The key to survival is early detection. Get screened today. I care because cancer doesn't.
Stay connected with what's happening in the region and Latin America and view Caribbean Newsline weeknights at 10 p.m. followed by news from the South at 10:30 p.m. on TTT.
Another abject batting display from the West Indies handed England another comprehensive 8-wicket victory in the third and final T20 international played over in St. Kitts. The Windies won the toss and batted, but that was the only thing that went right for them as they crashed to a stunning 71 all out. Coming so closely on the heels of their 45-run stinker on Friday, the push to salvage pride came up woefully short as left-arm seamer David Willey sliced through the top order and ended with 4 for 7. While Mark Wood added 3 for 9 in support. 3 batsmen had a joint top score of 11, with one other reaching 10 as England set up an easy chase. Johnny Bairstow ensured there would be few alarms with a blistering 37 as England reached 74 for 2 to win by 8 wickets and sweep the series 3-0, ending their tour on a high. And oh, how the West Indies could have used his services. Sunil Narine is back home playing club cricket with Queen's Park in the National League. The Parkites were hosting Aliskan Comets at the Oval where Narine was seen keeping the opposing batsmen honest as he unleashed his full bag of tricks and variations. He would end with 2 for 23. The chief destroyer for the Parkites was fellow spinner Akil Hussain, who snared 4 for 54 as Comets got shut out for 280 with Jid Gooley leading the way with 88. The Parkites ended the first day well placed on 73 for 1, seeking an outright win to jump back into the title race. Basketball is quietly trying to get itself back on the national consciousness, with small initiatives helping to satisfy an obvious need for development. Ruskin Mark has more on the second edition of the March Mayhem Coaching Initiative hosted by the Spartan Basketball Club.
The second edition of the March Mayhem Coaching Initiative took place at the Jean Pierre Complex, where several talented youngsters were exposed to coaching and basketball know-how thanks to the Spartan Basketball Club. The youngsters were taken through their defensive drills and how to defend space and still position yourselves to play the ball if and when it's played in your area. The man leading the clinic is Coach Mark Cook of the USA, who just wants to spread the gospel of basketball throughout TNT.
March Mayhem started last year with Spartans and Mr. Warwick and I, and we just wanted to have a program where we could have some of the best young players in the country come and showcase their skills, learn some more about the techniques of the game, and kind of just overall improve the play of the game here in TNT.
Gavin Warwick of Spartans is the man chiefly responsible for the March Mayhem program and believes the message is spreading.
The turnout has been excellent. I mean, we cater for 40 kids. Right now we have about 46. And we had to turn away a number of kids. Not that because of the ring and the availability of the facility and only 2 rings, we needed to ensure that we don't put the size of the group too big so that we want to do the individual training.
He also wants to grow the sport as quickly as possible, as basketball is poised to take off again in the next couple of years, in his estimation.
The intention of this is to have this every year in March Mayhem. So what Spartan does and what our club does is our intention is to put on an event every quarter. So we also do basketball fiesta, we also do a girls camp. So our intention is to put on an initiative every quarter of every year so that kids, both male and female, have an opportunity to play basketball. Outside of the leagues and tournaments, they have opportunities to look forward to come and compete in a controlled environment.
The kids are the ones benefiting the most, but local coaches are also getting the benefit of Coach Cook's knowledge, allowing for a transfer of information as well. Oscar Mark, TTT Sports.
FIFA is facing calls to launch an urgent investigation into a secret $100 million TV deal offered by Qatar's state-run broadcaster Al Jazeera 3 weeks before it awarded the 2022 World Cup to the country. The allegations were first made in a book, Whatever It Takes, the inside story of the FIFA way, by a whistleblower from inside Australia's failed 2022 bid, Bonita Mercedes, in January 2018. However, the Sunday Times said it had also seen documents showing executives from Al Jazeera had signed a TV contract that included an unprecedented success fee of $100 million. The Sunday Times said it also had seen a copy of a second secret television rights contract for a further $480 million that was offered by Qatar 3 years later, which is said was now part of a bribery inquiry by Swiss police. In horse racing news now, the John O'Brien trained Triple Crown aspirant making headlines scored another impressive victory as he ran away from Evening Jewel to further enhance his growing reputation as one to watch in the upcoming Triple Crown series.
And the leader is now making headlines on the outside, narrowly from Evening Jewel second, and they have pulled well clear of the third horse. That's Prince of Bellevue in fourth spot, and that one on the inside, that's Travatori, as they straighten up now with just about 250 meters to go. And making headlines is now being asked a question by Budram Singh, and he readily skipped 2 lengths clear of Evening Jewel, who is well clear of the third horse. That's Indiana Baby, but this horse is a one-horse race, and making headlines gets the job done very stylishly indeed. In the end, in second spot is Evening Jewel. Back in third was Indiana Baby.
Another solid win for making headlines, suggesting that he really is a classic contender, and the longer the race, the better he runs. But he shared the honours with Caesar Country, which followed another gear when needed to hold off a fast finishing Risk to Riches.
The 400-meter marker, and Princess Sophia is the one who leads from American Dillon. Caesar Country on the far side is trying to quicken. Then comes Rio Ponte, and after Rio Ponte is Risk to Riches. They come inside the final 200 meters, and Princess Sophia is now getting a challenge, a strong one at that, from Caesar Country, and another one that's flashing home on the inside, and that is Risk to Riches, it looks to be, but Caesar Country picks up the running. Caesar Country last, as the other one on the inside, Risk to Riches, was running on very strongly, got up for second spot. Back in third was Princess Sophia, and fourth to finish was American Dillon.
Adidas-sponsored players on the team that wins the FIFA Women's World Cup this year will receive the same performance bonus payments as their male counterparts, the sportswear company promised. The announcement follows news that the U.S. women's national soccer team is suing their federation with allegations of gender discrimination, where all 28 members of the squad were named as plaintiffs in federal court. The lawsuit filed by the team includes complaints about wages. The players said they had been consistently paid less than their male counterparts, even though their performances have been superior. While the men's soccer team failed to qualify for the World Cup in Russia last year, the U.S. women's team will be defending their 2015 crown in France in June. Some additional rest for returning stars David Warner and Steve Smith, who were kept out of the one-day series with Pakistan and will instead make their long-awaited return to first-class cricket in this year's India Premier League. There was speculation that Australia's ODI series against Pakistan, starting March 22nd in Sharjah, would be the setting for their much-anticipated return following one-year bans for ball tampering. But neither of the team will be playing any part in the 5 matches scheduled in the UAE. Both men are currently working through rehabilitation of elbow injuries, and the extra rest will give them a couple weeks, with the IPL set to start March 23rd, a day after the one-day series with Pakistan ends. Warner will play with Sunrisers Hyderabad and Smith with Rajasthan Royals. Another big name missing from the Australian 15-man squad is left-arm seamer Mitchell Starc due to injury. More to come. Stay with us.
There's no time like now and no show like ours. Start your day with a smile and view TTT every morning at 6 a.m. as Lisa, Rishi, and Carrie keep you in the know with what's trending on social media, the island vibe, and bring you the latest from the worlds of sport, technology, current affairs, and much more. Who says informative can be fun? Now, shaping tomorrow today, weekdays at 6 a.m. on TTT, Talk City 91.1 FM, and streaming live on Facebook at TTT Live Online.
Women have seen the need to educate themselves, to hold senior roles in organization, and they are doing just that. We women can say we are proud of our accomplishment and what we achieved in terms of acquiring senior roles in organizations.
Taking a look at the weather for the period tonight and tomorrow, Trinidad and Tobago, partly cloudy and cool with a light breeze and the chance of a few isolated overnight showers. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and breezy, interrupted at times by a few isolated showers, which may be accompanied by gusty winds. Evening and nighttime will eventually become mostly clear and cool. The remainder of the Lesser Antilles. Tonight, mostly clear, cool and breezy, despite the odd shower. Tomorrow, mainly sunny and breezy day, but can be interrupted at times by a few cloudy patches with brisk showers. Nighttime will be mostly clear and cool. Seas moderate, waves up to 2 meters in open waters and less than 1 meter in sheltered areas. Thousands of volunteers and local residents chipped in at Matura Beach for the annual Nature Seekers Beach Cleanup. The event, in its 29th year, continues to ensure there is a safe nesting space for turtles during their nesting season. Cameraman Rodney David took the trip to Matura, and Marie Hull filed this report.
Glass, plastic and driftwood were just a sample of some of the items found at the Matura Beach during the annual cleanup on Sunday morning. The aim of the exercise, with the help of many volunteers, is to ensure a safe space for nesting turtles along the 8-kilometer shoreline.
Nature Seekers annual beach cleanup event is held every year to prepare the beach for the turtle nesting season, as well as the annual seasonal turtle viewing program. This year we have registered over 3,000 participants, volunteers, who came to clear the beach, clean up the beach actually.
Volunteer Candice Superville also weighs in on some of the items found.
From driftwood and plastics and debris that washes ashore during the rainy season.
She said, however, a recurrent problem that isn't man-made, seaweed, continues to pose a challenge.
Based on the rainy season from the year before, and as well as the recent increase of seaweed on the beach, we have seen a fluctuation of the amount of trash that we collect. So some years there would be less, and like this year would be a lot because of the amount of seaweed that we would have gotten earlier in January.
Trinidad beaches are globally important nesting sites for the leatherback sea turtles, and as a part of its tourism and conservation initiative, Nature Seekers annually cleans the Matura Beach. The NGO also supports a sustainable community enterprise of repurposing litter into crafts, as the waste glass collected on the beach will be converted into crafts by community members. Nature Seekers facilitates turtle viewing tours between March 1st and August 31st each year, for which permits are required from the Forestry Division. Marie Hull, TTT News.
More to come. Stay with us.
TTT News, delivering more news at more times to more people. TTT News, reporting on the people, events, and issues that affect your life. TTT News, online and fully interactive. TTT News, connect.
International Women's Day is indeed an important day on the calendar for all women, not just women in Trinidad and Tobago. It's 2019, we're seeing women in a lot of managerial positions. We're not just mere housewives anymore. We're seeing women as CEOs, as CFOs, prime ministers, and even presidents. Women should reflect and just, thank God for all of the opportunities that we have today.
Venezuela's embattled president and his opposition rival held separate rallies in the capital Caracas on Saturday as the country struggled with an ongoing power outage. Addressing supporters on Saturday, President Nicolas Maduro insisted that the country's power grid had been hacked and sabotaged. President Maduro told supporters that almost 70% of power had been restored in the country Friday afternoon, but that progress was put off track by an international cyber attack carried out by the U.S. government and Venezuela's opposition. In a defiant speech in another part of Caracas, Venezuela's self-declared interim president, Juan Guaido, assured followers that all options were on the table to get his opponent out of office. Guaido said constitutional options to promote regime change would only work if the opposition continued to protest regularly and called on citizens to travel to Caracas to protest. An Ethiopian Airlines jet has crashed shortly after takeoff from Addis Ababa, killing all on board. The airline said 149 passengers and 8 crew members were on flight ET-302 from the Ethiopian capital to Nairobi in Kenya. The cause of the disaster is not yet clear. However, the pilot had reported difficulties and had asked to return to Addis Ababa, the airline said. An eyewitness at the scene told the BBC there was an intense fire as the aircraft hit the ground. Passengers from more than 30 countries were on board the flight, including 32 Kenyans, 18 Canadians, 9 Ethiopians, 8 Italians, 8 Chinese, 8 Americans, 7 Britons, 7 French citizens, 6 Egyptians, 5 Dutch citizens, 4 Indians, and 4 people from Slovakia. A Slovak member of parliament later confirmed via social media that his wife and 2 children were on the plane. The U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, have launched another assault on the Islamic State group's last enclave in Syria. Head of the SDF media office, Mustafa Bali, tweeted their troops were in direct violent clashes. Islamic State militants are centered in the town of Baghouz in eastern Syria. Once the village is taken, the U.S. and its allies are expected to formally declare the end of the caliphate proclaimed by IS in 2014. That's how we end our TTT News Report. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Verna. Have a good night.
At TTT News, our journalists are on the ground seeking the facts and reporting on people, events, and the issues that affect your life. Our job is